Today we're going to be talking about powering live storytelling at scale. My name is Mustafa Al-Sadi. I am a director of customer engagement at Brightspot, and I'm going to be hosting slash moderating this session. I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking, but the people that are going to be doing the talking are Scott. And Scott, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Scott Lipsky, as you see, Director of Technical Product and Event Operations with the PGA of America. Basically, I work with Brightspot to manage our Spectator Championships web and app experiences. So the PGA Championship, the Women's PGA Championship, here at the Ryder Cup right now, and we have Brightspot here helping us with our live video operations. So in the weeds during these event weeks, and it's a lot of fun to work with Brightspot on a lot of our challenges and our goals.
Thanks, Scott. Ben, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you. How you doing, Illuminate Verse? Ben London, Director of Customer Engagements, and I help lead a number of our sports and entertainment customers here at Brightspot.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
And yeah, I do want to just make a special call out to Scott because he is in New York at Bethpage right now, 2 days away from the Ryder Cup, which is very much go time for him, and really appreciate you taking your time out of your day, Scott, to be with us.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. All right. Let me just move into the next slide. All right, so we actually have a poll, and the poll that we have is, which part of your golf game most needs a caddy or a miracle? Is it driving, putting, sand saves, or keeping my temper?
Yep, we're gonna get the golf theme going while people answer. Good little icebreaker here. And yeah, also do want to mention that we're gonna try and save time for Q&A at the end. So if folks, if anything's coming to mind as we're going through our discussion, please feel free to drop in questions at the Q&A.
And it's telling me I'm not allowed to vote, but I definitely can't keep it straight off the tee, so I know what I would have picked.
I actually tried to
All
vote.
right.
Like, no, I can't. Okay, that's fine. That's fair, I guess. Oh, we got some votes.
Driving. Okay. Looks like the long game is the most challenging for folks.
41%.
But
Interesting.
everyone, we do have a level-headed group, though. Everyone's not that many temper tantrums, so that's good.
Only 9%, not too bad. All right, so
Awesome.
now, Scott, could you tell us a little bit about the PGA of America? Like, what is it? What does it offer its fans?
Sure. Yeah, so the PGA of America, we conduct the PGA Championship, we conduct the Women's PGA Championship, the Senior PGA Championship, and the Ryder Cup. You know us very well from those areas. And then if you go to your local golf course and you're looking to pick up the game, or you're looking to take lessons and improve your game, there's a very, very good chance you're taking a lesson from a PGA member or PGA professional. And our organization is where that PGA of America designation comes from. We basically train, certify, educate PGA members and teach them how to teach the game to others, and how to help others love the game, just like we all do. So that's who we are. Who we are not, and this is actually almost just as important. We are not the PGA Tour, so we are a separate autonomous organization from the PGA Tour. Week in, week out, you see PGA Tour events on television. We have PGA Tour players playing our championships, so you'll see PGA Tour players playing in the Ryder Cup this week. You see them playing the PGA Championship. We are a separate and distinct organization from the PGA Tour, and so that's often sometimes where brand confusion comes into play. But very, very much separate, but we obviously do a lot of things with them as an organization, and as I said, the PGA Tour players that you're familiar with play in our events.
That's awesome. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so moving on to the next slide. With fan engagement at the heart of PGA of America, what were some of the challenges you were facing in maximizing that engagement?
Sure. And I think the first item here is definitely one of the most prevalent. So for the PGA Championship specifically, we don't have the rights to live stream our events on our platforms. ESPN and CBS for the PGA Championship, they're rights holders. And so featured groups live streaming, featured holes, the linear telecast, all of that's all on their platforms, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and CBS. What we do have the rights to, once a shot is hit on any of those platforms, we can redistribute it immediately immediately. However we feel is the most effective. So, we've been working very closely with Brightspot for the last few years to really develop, a strong and impactful strategy surrounding our VOD rights, our video on demand rights, if you will. And so we've really taken that head on when it comes to adding videos into push notifications, maximizing the number of shots you'll see within the scorecard, maximizing the number of shots you'll see within our 3D shot tracking capabilities. So we really want to make sure we're maximizing all of the rights that we do have. We also are able to stream the audio live from SiriusXM, so we make sure that we're maxing out our hours on that to drive people to our product. Another challenge is, we just talked about all of those things, and it's a year-round process. And I work with Ben and his team on all of our features that we're trying to implement. And we only really get one shot. We also, it's not quite one. We have the PGA Championship. We also have the Women's PGA after that. Our largest, footprint is going to come 1 week a year during the PGA Championship. So, not only can we not miss, or we have to do our best to not miss, but when we make our decisions as to what features we are and are not going to implement, whether that's in October, November, January, we're about to go into a season in which we really think about 2026. We have to be very confident in our decision making because we have to think about it for an entire year. If we choose not to go forward with a feature and then we feel like we should have, there's no real way to course correct. So it's not only let's make sure what we implement we get right, but let's make sure we don't miss out on opportunities. And that's really what our mindset is all about.
Try to throw any golf jokes in there. I'm like, oh, you can't mulligan. It has to be a whole.
We do not get.
Those are the only terms I know.
Mulligans. We get them, but we have to wait 48 weeks or so to implement them. So, and the other interesting part about that, Mustafa, is that not only can we just say, okay, this went wrong, let's correct this, but when we're correcting it, it's a year later. So that feature that we may have missed out on may not be cutting edge a year from now. And so it's not only, scaling up to where we may have missed, but we also have to make sure we're jumping to the next step. So those are the challenges that we have, and we work closely with Brightspot on that. And it's great to have a partner that is, of the same mindset as we are in that respect. And you also, reference users on site and at home. We need to make sure that fans that are on site at an event have all the features they need to make their experience better while they're here, pulling up their tickets seamlessly, being able to have an interactive map that works seamlessly. There are a number of different things that we need to think about in that respect. And then the bulk of our audience is obviously going to be following our championship anywhere they are around the country, around the world. And so we need to be thinking about both customers and both audiences.
Yeah, for sure. You have people tuned in and like waiting for these updates from you guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me pick on Ben for a little bit now. Actually, before we do, we have another poll.
Yep.
Which aspect of a digital media platform like the PGAs do you find most challenging to address within your own business? Is it operational efficiency and integration, data management analytics, customer engagement and personalization, sponsorship and revenue generation, or media distribution and content delivery? So we'll pause here while people give them a chance to answer.
All important ingredients for sure. So we know, interesting to see who's out there and what their challenges are.
I like the polls feature. This has been pretty cool.
What do we got? Okay.
Efficiency and integration.
Seems like most of these things are challenging polls for a lot of different programs, not just the PGAs. So hopefully we can talk through how we've solved them for the PGA.
Speaking of which, Ben, what are some key challenges you see supporting the strategy from a tech perspective?
Yeah, great. So we just wrapped up our 6th season partnering with the PGA of America on their championship events. They've been a customer since 2018. And as I was preparing for today's session, I was really amazed thinking about just how many moving parts there are that make up this incredible program. Really far too many to talk about in one session here. So I kind of tried to dial in on 3 key themes that I believe are the biggest ingredients for success. And the first that comes to mind is the marriage of having a system that is very strong in both the kind of core editorial content types and authoring capabilities, as well as a system that has a sports-centric data model and is able to build all the other golf-specific features like starting times, course stats, player profiles, and scorecards. During the week of the championship, Scott's content team is constantly updating the homepage throughout the day. They're publishing articles. sending out push notifications, producing videos. And so you really must have a system that is best in class in those content creation capabilities, which is really at the core of what Brightspot does best. And one of the other great strengths of Brightspot is its flexibility and customizability that has allowed us to build a first-class native leaderboard experience, which really is the crown jewel of the site and the feature that the fans are coming to interact with the most. So again, it's just that marriage of content and functionality, which I think is really rare to find one system doing really well and delivering at the level that we think we are. And so moving on, the next kind of key success criteria that I really thought through was just the orchestration of all the third-party technologies involved with the PGA's digital operation and making all the parts come together seamlessly, both on the web and in the mobile app. Brightspot is powering both the mobile app and the website from a single CMS. And so as it relates to the third-party integrations, I believe Brightspot's kind of showing up in two big ways. First, on the technology side, we've taken kind of what I call a sit in the center approach, as you can see from the slide, where Brightspot's integration-friendly architecture allows us to bring in all these different third-party technologies into Brightspot. We apply PGA of America's specific business rules and logic, and then deliver those experiences back out to the consumer. All kind of funneling through Brightspot, ticketing, video, live videos, push notifications, all the on-site map features like Scott talked about. That's all those integrations are really coming through into Brightspot from a technology side. And then on the partnership side, we work hand in hand with Scott's team to coordinate all these third-party vendors working together and collaboratively. And it's almost as if we're an extension of Scott's and the PGA Digital team. We really take a leadership role in orchestrating all these different third-party vendors, making sure everyone's working together collaboratively. And then during the live events, we are there on, we're not at the Ryder Cup today. One of my colleagues, Sarah, she is there doing video operations, but for all the championship events, we're boots on the ground with Scott's team, making sure everything's running smoothly and without a hitch. And finally, just the kind of final theme I want to touch on is really the importance of testing and having a really well-architected production environment. As Scott mentioned, the stakes are just so high when you have a live event, and all of it is coming down to this 4-day period of the golf. Really, it's a 1 week, but Thursday to Sunday is when the championship's really in action. And so you really have to have a well-architected solution built for scale. And leading up to the event, we do weeks and weeks of live simulation testing where we're stress testing the system or accounting for all the different scenarios of a golf event, like playoffs and weather delays and disqualifications for those that have a bad temper or something. That doesn't happen too often. But you really have to test and be ready for those scenarios, and you can't really ever be over prepared. And then from an architecture perspective, we really make sure all that scoring data is highly distributed at the caching layer with the precision to update in near real time as scoring updates come in. So the scale and the traffic that you're dealing with and that leaderboard, which is the crown jewel, that's gotta perform well. Those are the table stakes of the solution. So you got to really make sure that is super well architected and ready for prime time.
And I will say, you mentioned, oh, sorry, I didn't think you were done.
Go. That's it. Yep.
I was going to say, the table stakes, we just, I talked a lot about enhancements and innovation, which is all critical to what we do. But the table stakes, and when you talk about live scoring, that's where it all comes home to roost. We have to get that right, and it needs to be at the highest level possible. And so, we think a lot about innovation, but just having the core table stakes and fundamentals right is what really makes the experience a great one. And that's where we're really, really heads down year in, year out. As you mentioned, Ben, weeks and weeks of testing for a 4-day championship. And it's because there are those certain core functions that have to work properly.
Yep.
Yeah. So, now that you've talked about all this awesome stuff, I feel like we should show the people some of this awesome stuff. So I'm going to stop screen sharing this deck, and I'm actually going to pull up another deck that's just going to run on a loop so people can see what it really looks like on the site, and also what it looks like in the app. So here, let me just share this screen instead.
Yep, got some product shots for everyone. Very proud of this.
Yep. And then we're just gonna put it on a loop for just to run in the background. So there we go.
Cool.
You
So
guys
let's
can
talk
see that.
about the, yep, I think we're going to talk about the future. What's next, right, Mustafa?
Yep, we're gonna talk about what's next. Basically, Scott, let's actually go back to you here. I would imagine that you have a roadmap to taking fan engagement experience to the next level. And I've kind of heard you talk about this at different instances. Can you talk about what's on your roadmap, just so people have an idea?
Sure. Yeah, you know, I think one thing that we're really going to dive into heading into 26, but really thinking about this on a multi-year basis. You know, right now, you tell us whether you're attending the PGA Championship or you're not attending, and you'll get a slightly different experience based on where certain features are located, based on what's in navigation, et cetera. What we really can do if we really start to think multi-year is how do we really fully tailor that information or that experience to the attending fan. You know, the home screen doesn't have to look at all the same. It doesn't just have to be that the map is moved up 3 spaces or that there's, you know, 2 different spots that are different in navigation. It can be a totally different design and a totally different look and feel based on what we're seeing and hearing from our fans. You know, we implemented really the first time we've had some comprehensive you know, fan feedback and data collection in 2025 through an NPS survey that Brightspot implemented. And I mean, the feedback was just so unbelievably invaluable. Obviously, plenty of feedback about, you know, here's what could be better. Here's what isn't as smooth as we want. But also, hey, here's what I spent a lot of time in that was awesome. So how do we spend more time and effort, you know, bolstering those experiences as well? And so I think we really are armed with the tools now to really take a multi-year look at this and really tailor things to the fan exactly the way that we would want to, based on what we're hearing from the actual consumers, rather than just necessarily doing peer review and saying, oh, this is what our peer group is doing. You know, here's what looks like a really good new trend. We're hearing from our users firsthand. And so I think that's going to really help us going forward.
Sure. All right. Ben, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? I know that we were trying to save time at the end for Q&A, but did you
Sure.
have anything else that you wanted to add before we jump into that?
Sure. Yeah, sure. You know, our kind of cadence with Scott and his team after each season, you know, we really spend a couple days together, whether in Scott's PJ's in Frisco, Texas, obviously Brightspot's in Reston. We've done some home and homes, but we really do a couple days of hardcore roadmap planning together to understand, you know, how do we translate Scott and team's product vision into technology solutions. And so we're just at the cusp of, you know, the beginning of that this year, gearing up for 26. And we're excited to show Scott what Brightspot 5.0 looks like and trying to get a plan in place to working towards getting them up to 5.0. Really looking forward to that and excited. And also all how we can leverage the AI capabilities and the automation workflows that a lot of has been covered yesterday and throughout the Illuminate sessions, and really just looking at how we can help Scott's team work in a more automated, as fast, better, faster, smarter efficiencies, and continuing to be as integration friendly as possible. So Scott and team, sometimes they change out who their video provider might be, who their analytics provider might be. We're kind of always at the ready to understand who and how they need to be supported from an integration standpoint. And yeah, so I think we're looking forward to next year and continuing on. It's been really a great journey. Six PGA championships we've done together, 2 Ryder Cups. This year will be the 3rd. And yeah, looking forward to keeping it going.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. And then
Very
Tiff,
exciting.
did you have, oh, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
That's all.
Tiff, did you have Q&A questions?
We do. We have one from Grant. Does Brightspot play a part in the live broadcast for PGA of America?
Then
Scott,
you
you
can
want to take it?
Oh yeah, the short answer is no. Brightspot does not play a part in the production of it. What we do, however, or what Brightspot does do is ingest just about every swing that happens on a live stream or a linear telecast. They work with a few of our other partners, and basically, we'll ingest those clips and then turn it into a part of our scoring experience. So the broadcast is a very critical part of the work that we do with Brightspot. In terms of producing the actual broadcast, that's from our broadcast partners.
Okay. All right. And then let's see if we've got anything else in Q&A. Question here. What's the one thing you wish Brightspot had that would make PGA of America digital event experience better? Spicy question. I like it.
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of what Brightspot has or doesn't. I think there's only so much you can do in one championship cycle, and that's why I think us really starting to think through multi-year cycles and how that can really help us elevate, may unlock some features and some capabilities that maybe we felt like we were time boxed a little bit, in order to be able to do. So again, tailoring that on-site experience for the fan at a much greater level than we've done before. Maybe if we start to think about 2027, right, instead of what can we do in 6 or 7 months, I think that may add quite a bit to what our capabilities are across the board, not just with Brightspot, but with the PGA of America as well. Ben, is there anything on your end? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, no, I think as we kind of mentioned, the first couple of years of the program, it really was about getting the table stakes right and making sure that we have a really rock solid leaderboard and all the live scoring capabilities, and having the tee times go live on that Tuesday before of event week. Getting all those nuts and bolts right and performing right was really a large focus the first couple of years of the program, and now we are really kind of able to really start running and on the innovation front and bringing the new ideas to life and catering to the fan experience both from home and on site on course. Really is kind of an exciting time for us to see how we can push the needle forward.
Right. And I think that's a good segue to our final question. It's a heavy hitter. It's a really big question. So do you have any spare tickets for Bethpage this weekend, Scott? This is from Richard Cox. It's very important.
SeatGeek is our official ticketing provider, and we very much invite you to check it out.